Venezuela's Public Prosecutor's Office launches the investigation on right-wing opposition leader Maria Corina Machado for the inciting new illegal sanctions against the country. In Palestine, Israeli shelters under the military protection attacked the residences of massacred Jatta, south of the occupied city of Hebron in Cisjordania. The World Health Organization announced it will keep its alert for mpox at the highest level aimed at surging cases. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrera from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll be with the news. Stay with us. In Venezuela, the Public Prosecutor's Office initiated an investigation into right-wing opposition leader Maria Corina Machado for inciting new illegal sanctions against the country. Through a press release, the authority informed that the measure comes after leaders of the Venezuelan ultra-right-wing expressed their support and promotion of the new coercive measures that Washington seeks to impose, although a bill of the U.S. House of Representatives. With these actions, the Venezuelan prosecution assured that Machado has violated and betrayed the Constitution of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Since 2014, Venezuela has been subject to a policy of economic, financial, and commercial harassments with the imposition of more than 940 sanctions, causing an economic genocide against the Venezuelan people. In this sense, the Attorney General's office emphasized the public pronouncements that the above mention has made regarding this unlawful bill seriously involves her and constituents to the commission of the crimes of treason established in Article 128 of the Penal Code, conspiracy with foreign countries established in Article 103(2) of the Penal Code, and association to commit crimes established in Article 37 of the Law Against Organized Crimes. The document also stated the Public Prosecutor's Office, as a director of the criminal investigations, as an organ of the citizens empowered, generator of the faithful tradition of freedom, peace, independence, and sovereignty that characterize our republic, remain firm in its duty to guarantee justice, as well as in the fight against any person, global or national or international entity that with its actions threaten the stability of the country. And as the first date of the anti-fascist youth and students world congress is underway in Caracas, we go live for updates with our correspondent Belén de los Santos. Hi, Belén, tell us all the details you can share with us.
Hello, studios. We are here. We continue here in Caracas at the Youth Congress of the Anti-Fascist Congress that is underway here in Caracas, as Venezuela has summoned over 1,000 delegates, that is from 70 countries, and this was the first day of the Congress. We are here, we continue to see the activities that are underway, delegates from all over the world, as we were saying, specifically from the global south, but really from everywhere, that come here to share their perspectives, their fights in their own territories, in their own countries, to analyze and discuss what does the fight against fascism mean today, mean in every country, in every territory, at a world context that we know is very complex, and many countries have suffered the consequences from this. So this Congress summons the youth to come together and think the possible alternatives to really face these challenges. And with us at this moment, we have Grayson Walker. He is a law graduate from the United States, an attorney, and also a political analyst. So first of all, thank you, Grayson, for joining us in teleSUR English. And to begin, I would like to ask you about your experience. How have you lived the day, the experience of really joining together with other delegates from all over the world?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on this channel and for welcoming me to Venezuela. I'm honored to be here as a part of an American delegation. Our country obviously has a very unique role, especially as it concerns world imperialism. So I'm very happy to be here. Regarding my impressions of the country and just being here, it's one thing to be reading about anti-imperialism, to be writing about it, to be working on this outside, but to be here in the center of the Bolivarian Revolution, to be amidst so many anti-imperialist students and youth, it really shows you that Chavismo is not dead. And the revolution is living on not just here in Venezuela, but it's inspiring people around the world. Not just from Russia, Vietnam, Iran, but also us in the United States who are looking for some alternative to the two-party duopoly, which is as alien to us as it is the countries that it occupies.
Of course, and as we were saying, we're living at some very particular and difficult times around the world with, for example, an ongoing genocide that is happening right now. Palestine is one of the main topics of discussion. It's around the world. We see it in t-shirts. We see people walking around with flags. And it's been a worldwide struggle to denounce the genocide, to denounce the financing, for example, of not only the genocide, but other armed conflicts around the world. So from an analyst perspective, what does this sort of Congress that brings together experiences from the global South, experiences of resistance, what does this mean and what's the importance of this at a moment like this?
I think there's two things that are very important for international solidarity regarding the genocide and also the ongoing wars, not just regarding the ongoing funding of the Ukrainian regime and the Russian special military operation, but also these other wars around the world that are part of imperialism. The first important thing is that it gives voice to the people of these conflicts who are not otherwise able to be expressed in the mainstream media that's dominated in the imperial core. So by giving these people in Palestine and Gaza a voice here, for instance, it shows them that they are not alone, that their fight is not something that they are solely David versus Goliath, but they have 9/10 of the world behind them, and that it only requires awakening that 9/10 to realize what power that they have. The other prong, I think, to this is that we need to learn from each other and learn from the experiences of various movements around the world so we can integrate that into our own. Chavistas should learn from those in Gaza who are waging resistance against the Israeli occupation. And those in the United States should learn, not just get information about, what their occupied government is doing in these countries, but also should learn the tactics and the theories and the struggle from these countries in order to integrate that into their own experience. Because in the US, we have, of course, also disgruntlement against the state, but it's not channeled in a way that's historically what we could say is maybe progressive. It's sometimes channeled in ways that is antithetical to their own interests. So learning from the experiences of other people around the world and integrating that into our own, that is a core part of the anti-imperialist struggle.
And you were talking from a United States perspective, and I would like to add, and I'll also just ask you, in this context, what does it mean to participate in the anti-imperialist struggle from the United States? You were talking about the learning process from other movements all over the country, but how's the struggle like in the United States? You've just come from an election process. You're facing a new mandate of Donald Trump in the coming years. How do you see the movement? Do you see hope that the anti-imperialist struggle will grow? We've seen great mobilizations in favor of Palestine, for example. What does it mean to carry that flag in that territory?
Well, I think anti-imperialism in the American context, in our view, is an inherently patriotic position. Because the United States government, what it calls itself a democracy, does not reflect a popular will. If you want evidence, look at the fact that both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris were the two nominees, wildly unpopular candidates. Kamala Harris, who wasn't even properly vetted as part of the democratic process. So I think that we need to essentially view this as one struggle. The imperialist system is one system. NATO, NATO, imperialism, the genocide in Gaza, this is one conflict. And the American people are a part of that conflict. Their struggle against their own government, their own discontent is tied up with the oppression in Gaza, with the war in the Ukraine. And I think that integrating this into our own struggle from a patriotic, popular position against the states, to understand this is one movement that the youth of the world is united against a system that is also alien to us. That's very important. Of course, it's the task of the left to articulate this. And the American left has trouble doing this. There are factions in the American left that often appear very anti-imperialist, but in fact, they spout the same ideology of the Democratic Party and the ruling establishment. So, although this election wasn't necessarily a happy one, at the very least, because the Democratic Party has been destroyed, decimated because of this, discredited, it at least opens the space for something new to emerge. It allows for a new left that is independent of the Democratic and Republican parties, that is rooted in the working class of our country, and which can tie the national struggle in the United States with the anti-imperialist struggle around the world. So I think that there are lots of lessons to learn, but we have a very long road ahead.
We will continue to analyze and hope that effectively something new emerges. Definitely the struggle in the global south has a lot to think about its solidarity and the possibilities of solidarities with the working class in the United States. And so we truly appreciate your work and whatever you're doing there. So thank you, Grayson, for joining us in teleSUR English. And we go now back to studios before saying that the Congress is ending its first day, but will continue on Saturday. And as you were saying, and as you were seeing, this side of discussions are the ones that are being carried out at this Youth Anti-Fascist Congress here in Venezuela. The idea that the different struggles around the world in their fight against fascism can come together to debate these ideas and also analyze possible strategies for the years to come. That's the idea and the goal for this event, that the youth, the young generations from every country can build and think and draw up a map for the coming years around the world. So now we go back to you.
Thank you, Ellen, for bringing us all the details regarding the first days of the Anti-Fascist Sundays of Student World. And now let's take a very short break, but remember you can join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see us in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. The President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, stated that former Ecuadorian Minister Walter Hipólito Solís cannot be extradited to her country due to his refugee status. President Sheinbaum explained that the arrest was made because Solís had a red arrest warrant from Interpol, but thanks to the good coordination of Mexican institutions, he was kept in the country in respect of his refugee status. The Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been in permanent communication with the Mexican Attorney General's office to coordinate the actions that must be taken immediately to guarantee Solís' freedom and rights to remain as a resident in Mexico.
Luckily, there is a lot of coordination among the institutions in Mexico. This person is a refugee, he has that category. But at the same time he was under Interpol's file. You know that, when there is an Interpol file, a red notice is issued. Then the detention was made, but immediately there was communication among the institutions to say he cannot be extradited or taken to Ecuador because he has the status of refugee. Then very quickly it was solved. That was the situation, but fortunately there is a lot of coordination.
Moving on, Israeli shelters under military protection attack residents in the town of Masafer Yatta, south of the occupied city of Hebron in the West Bank, as part of the continuation of Zionist regime's genocidal actions. These aggressions occurred after on Thursday night, Israeli shelters stole a vehicle that was parked in front of a house in the Hur area in Masafer Yatta, at which time the occupation forces confiscated several vehicles. Several global leaders ensure that they will comply with the arrest warrants issued by the International Criminal Court against Prime Minister Bejamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for crimes against humanity and war crimes against the Palestinian population. So far, many governments have reacted, noting they will respect and abide by the ICC's final judgments, such as South Africa, Spain, France, Canada, Ireland, Belgium, Italy, the Netherlands, Colombia, and among other nations. The High Representative of the nation for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Josep Borrell, expressed support of the ICC's judgment as well. Nearly 500 miners have locked themselves in a coal mine on Friday near Turkey's capital Ankara in a show of protest against a privatization project. The protest started on the Wednesday against the plans of privatize the Kajarad mine and thermal power plant on the outskirts of the capital city. According to a representative of the Turkish Main East Union, the miners are determined to continue their protest until the privatization project is abandoned. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch on interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. If you subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. The financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. The World Health Organization announces it will keep its alert for mpox at the highest level as surging cases. The World Health Organization's committee, made up of about a dozen independent experts, made the decision at a meeting in Geneva on Friday, 3 months after the agency first declared a public health emergency and global concern in August. The World Health Organization said its decision was based on the rising number and continuing geographic spread of cases, operational challenges in the field, and the need to mount and sustain a cohesive response across countries and partners. The United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, called for more support from international organizations for children in Myanmar who have been affected by armed conflicts and natural disasters and the lack of humanitarian support. UNICEF detailed that at least 650 minors have been killed by 2024 as a consequence of the conflict's escalation that turned out in 2021 between the National Army and armed groups. In France, farmers from Harland Farmers Union Coordination Rural have blocked a logistic base belonging to the supermarket company Carrefour in Colomiers near Toulouse. The blockade was carried out to protest against the competition from Mercosur imports if free trade agreement is concluded. Early afternoon, 1,000 tractors and cars belonging to the protesters blocked the entrance to the site, preventing the trucks from entering and leaving the facilities. In addition, farmers, mainly from the Coordination Rural, the L'Aveyron, dumped trailers of tires and garbage near the place. This is the fifth day of protests in European nations since the announcements of the UN Mercosur agreements aimed at boosting economic ties between Europe and South America, which has caused distress in the agricultural sector. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For teleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.